So today I'm going to teach you how to strum the song Wild Horses by the Rolling Stones. And I'm picking this song not only because it's a really great song, but I do get requests from my students here in Vancouver now and then for this song. And it's actually a pretty challenging song to strum. It has a very unique strum in the intro, but then it also has quite a cool rhythmic form in the verse that's pretty tricky. So it's a really great song to study when you're learning how to strum, or even just if you want to improve your strumming technique. Now, for teaching strums, I use a particular form of notation that you kind of see this form of notation online, but I've got my own way of writing it that I have found to be very successful for teaching students how to read strumming rhythms. And I have all this kind of notation and lots more lessons like this in my book, Guitar Strumming Like a Pro, which is available on Amazon, and the link is in the description if you want to learn more about that. So here's the strum pattern for the intro to the song. It sounds like this. So that's just a G chord, right? And if we look at here my notation, we can see, of course, these down arrows mean down strums. And of course, these up arrows mean up strums. Yeah. Now, what are all these dots? All these dots are what I call the empty swings, because when we have a lot of empty space in a strum pattern, we need to make sure that our hand is still moving down, up in that empty space, right? So we see, especially at the beginning of the strum pattern, I have down, I strum, but then I have this up, down, up that I don't strum, and that's indicated by the number of dots. The number of dots is up, down, up, right? So it's to that next downbeat. If you find it difficult, you can have the arm swing pretty wide. Or sometimes you'll see we just kind of have it swing just a tiny bit, just so that we keep time and we don't lose our place in terms of which strum should be down and which strum should be up, right? So that first half sounds like 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? And we'll try that again. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's just add the next part. If I play to here, it'll be. Okay. Now, one of the things you can do is you can try to get the sound of the strum stuck in your head too, right? So sometimes, this always feels a bit silly, but honestly, sometimes we just want to hear in our mind or sing out loud, da, 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 da. Because if we can sing it, we can probably play it, right? We can at least replicate the sound. Or sometimes what I'll do is I'll get students to just tap on the guitar, the rhythm. It's da, da, Okay, so now the rhythm is stuck in our head, but we still have to make sure that our arm direction is correct. We can't fake the arm direction or it won't come out sounding smooth or as musical, right? So I'm going to count in and do the strum pattern up to there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not bad. You want to try that again? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now let's look at what we have left for the strum pattern is we just have an up, down, up, right? So that's no dots between that up, down, and up. So it's all together. So I'm going to play the whole thing, and then I'll count in, and you can try it too. It's right? Or if we just think of the rhythm, get the rhythm stuck in our head again, it's da, whoops, I gotta hit that better. Da, 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 da. Right? So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not bad. Now, if you can do that, then let's move on to the next part. What we're going to do is we're going to loop that section, that whole rhythm pattern. If you want to go back, just rewind the video and make sure you've got that pretty stuck in your head before you continue on. So now what we notice is at the end of the strum pattern, we have this up, down, up. And that means that we are going to go straight to beat 1, the down again, right away. So if I do 2 in a row, you'll notice there's no break at the end of the strum pattern, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going to count in. You're going to try that with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty good. Now, practice that a bit until, again, you can just hear the sound in your mind. You can just hear but, and make sure that your arm direction isn't cheating. I'll give you an example of what cheating looks like, so you know what I mean. Cheating looks like this, and students do this quite a bit, and that's why it's really good to have a real live teacher or a teacher over the internet who can see if you're doing this, because sometimes students don't know they're doing this. Watch my right arm. I'm going to cheat. See if I can. Yeah, I can do it. It's the same rhythm, but the direction's wrong. Right? That's the rhythm, but it's not as musical, and the direction is the opposite of what's being played on the original song. And it's just not as musical. It doesn't have the same flow as if my arm is still moving down, up constantly. The arm should never stop moving down, up. Okay, so now let's talk about one other funny thing about the song, is that the song actually starts what we would call, it has a pickup. That means that the very first strum is not beat 1. It's an up strum. We would call that maybe the end 4. And so if I add an up strum only for the very beginning of the song, I'm going to add that up strum before the pattern that we already know. In which case, it sounds like. So if I count that in, we would come in on a 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, it's the end of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Cool. Okay, so now that goes G, A minor, right? So it just goes. Now let's talk about the verse. He actually uses a different strum pattern in the verse. Now you can just continue using that same strum pattern for this first part because I actually think it sounds really good. In the original, there's 2 guitars, right? And they're not playing exactly the same thing. And of course, remember that even in any song, we are unlikely to continue playing the exact same strum pattern throughout the whole song, right? It can actually sound a little boring if we do. So if you want to keep playing that strum pattern, that'd be cool. But I'm going to show you the strum pattern that he actually does here on the verse. The first 4 chords are just B minor, G, B minor, and G again, right? So here's the strum pattern for the B minor G. It goes like this. It starts the same as the previous one. G. Right, so you see at the end, all we get is just all these downs. Sometimes that can be hard to make that sound particularly cool, so you got to be careful with your dynamics, as we call it, with making not every strum exactly the same volume, right? Just slight variations in volume help that to sound more interesting. So that's the part that he goes, childhood living. And then we're going to go A minor, same strum pattern. And now, here's where it gets really cool. This is my favorite part of this compositionally. We have a C and a D chord, but they're split. So we're going to use that same strum pattern that we just did, but the C will take up most of it, and the D will be the last two down strums. So if I just do the C part, it'll be, right? That's the C, and then I switch to D for my last two down strums. It's a really effective move, and you'll recognize it now if you listen to the song again. You'll hear that part. You can hear very clearly, right? So I'm going to count us in. We'll do just that C to D. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. If we back up to the A minor, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. Now after that we have a G, and then we have a D. But let's do A minor, C, D, the tricky C, D, and then the G, right? So it's A minor. The things you wanted, I bought them for you. Now watch that. On that D to C, we have the same phenomenon. We're walking down from the D to the C on the last two beats, right? So from the D, it's C, C, right? So it's really the opposite of what we did before. We went C to D, D to C, right? So I'll play that whole thing from the A minor all the way to the end of that line. 1, 2, 3, 4. The things you wanted, I bought them for you. Now I should say you can download all the chords and lyrics from my website. It's bluemorris.com, but the link to that actual page is below. And so once you have these strum patterns down, that'll make it a lot easier. You can just read along with the chords and hear the strum patterns in your mind, or watch the arrows, write down the arrows or print out the arrows, which are also on the website there too. So finally, let's do the chorus, the last part. The chorus also has a very similar thing happening, but then it has another extra little trick, but they're all pretty easy. If you've made it this far, the chorus is pretty easy because it's the same concepts. So we have an A minor, we have a C, we have a D, we have an F, a C, and a B minor. And up to that F, it's the same concepts that we've already done. So the A minor, the C, the D, we already know. We did that already in the verse, right? It's like this. Wild horses. Right? And now we get this different little bit, but it's very easy. We get a G and an F, but all we have to do is just strum down for the G. You didn't drag me up. Right? And then we get another measure of split, but it's C, B minor split, right? Wait. Again, it's B minor that gets those last two strums, right? So if I put that whole phrase together, wild horses, couldn't drag me away. And then that just repeats, right? Without the B minor the second time. So the second time it's wild horses couldn't drag me away. So some things to keep in mind when you have challenging rhythms is if you have a teacher to write out the rhythm using this method, and like the methods that I use in my book, Guitar Strumming Like a Pro, that can really help because some people like to see the arrows. They like to see the arrows, and you can stare at the arrows as you're strumming. And remember, keep that arm moving constantly. And then it's just a decision of when does the pick hit the strings, or when does the pick not hit the strings. So now you can play all the tricky parts to the song. Now it's just a matter of applying those strum patterns to the chords of the rest of the song. And you can download those chords from my website. It's bluemorris.com, but the link to that actual page is in the description. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Again, Link to my book is in the description, and I also have another book called Guitar Soloing Like a Pro. You can check that out. And please like and subscribe and share this video, and have a great day. Bye.